Okay, who is actually making your decisions today? As an executive, you probably think it's you, right? You look at the data, you weigh the options, you make the call. But what if I told you that you've kind of already been hypnotized? Right now, literally as we speak, unseen cognitive forces and internal narratives are driving your daily decisions, completely without your consent. Your brain is just deciding what to focus on, what to fear, what to ignore, all without even asking you.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're completely skipping the basic leadership advice and setting the stage for a critical briefing on the hidden mechanics of influence and cognitive reprogramming. We're going to look at the puppet strings you probably never noticed, and more importantly, exactly how a senior leader can cut them. So here's our roadmap. We're going to cover the invisible influence, the internal threat, how to reclaim cognitive control, a reprogramming toolkit, and finally, the ultimate case study. Basically, we're figuring out how our human operating system actually works so we can strategically optimize it. All right, part one, the invisible influence, operating under the trance. We're going to start by establishing the reality of this trance, looking at how external narratives totally shape our baselines and our behaviors in the market. Let's look at a guy named Edward Bernays. He was actually Sigmund Freud's nephew. Back in the 1920s, cigarette companies had a massive problem. Women just weren't smoking. That meant half their potential market basically didn't exist. So they bring in Bernays. But here's the thing. He didn't advertise cigarettes. He did something genius and, frankly, kind of terrifying. During the 1929 Easter Parade in New York, he hired women to march down the street holding cigarettes in the air, and he dubbed them torches of freedom. He wasn't selling a product at all. He connected the product to the concept of freedom and revolution. And wow, it worked flawlessly. It opened up an entirely new market almost overnight. Women started smoking because suddenly it meant, I am powerful, I cannot be controlled. The profound irony, of course, is that they were being perfectly, invisibly controlled. That's mass hypnosis achieved entirely through narrative and a completely altered consumer behavior. And you know, this isn't just some modern PR trick. Ancient philosophies understood this deeply. Take the Sanskrit concept of Maya, which translates to illusion. Ancient Buddhist teachers argued that the world we perceive is actually a veil. It's a dream so convincing we forget we're sleeping. Even Greek mythology explored this through Morpheus, the god of dreams, planting visions so real they changed waking life. They recognized this veil of installed beliefs way before modern neuroscience caught up to mass hypnosis. So the question for us as leaders is this: which of our rigid business beliefs about our market, our competitors, or even our own capabilities were actually installed by someone else's narrative? Moving to part two, the internal threat, the CEO of your sabotage. Because, well, the threat isn't just external. Let's pivot our focus inward to the absolute most dangerous hypnotist in the room, the voice inside your own head. See, while external forces like marketing and societal expectations definitely nudge us, it's our internal programming that truly limits us. Just think about that narrator in your head. The one that says, hey, don't embarrass yourself, right before a high-stakes board meeting. Or whispers, you aren't ready to lead this division when a big opportunity pops up. That voice hypnotizes you more completely than any marketing campaign ever could, simply because it sounds exactly like you. It knows your deepest insecurities and it uses them to keep you safely and predictably exactly where you are. In Hindu mythology, this internal narrator is personified as Mara, the demon of illusion. But the trick is, Mara doesn't look like a scary monster. Mara looks like comfort. Mara looks like safety. Mara tells you, don't take that risk. Don't launch that product. Just stay here where nothing can hurt you and let the competitors test the waters. This internal voice operates exactly like Mara, using your very own desire for safety to keep you paralyzed in a self-created illusion. And honestly, we listen to it every single day, trapping ourselves in a narrative that guarantees stagnation in a rapidly moving market. Which brings us to part three. Reclaiming cognitive control. Now here comes the twist, and it's a really powerful one. If you're the one who wrote the trance, you're also the only one who can rewrite it.
You see, you aren't a victim of your own mind. You are its author. Waking up from this trance is what the Greeks called metanoia, a complete change of mind. It isn't just changing an opinion. It's a total shift in how you see reality. In modern psychology, we call it a paradigm shift. For a leader, this is absolutely the ultimate executive decision. It's the choice to strip away the veil, to see the market, your team, and most importantly, yourself clearly, without all that installed programming. It's the exact moment you decide to take the reins.
All right, part four. The reprogramming toolkit executive strategies. Let's look at an actionable 4-part cognitive strategy designed to actively rewire your neural pathways.
The absolutely crucial point here is implementation. This isn't about manipulating your team or your shareholders. It's about regaining narrative control over your own daily leadership. So let's break down these 4 pragmatic steps: the story you tell yourself, the language shift, pattern interruption, and borrowed belief.
Tool number 1, the story you tell yourself. Look, every morning, your brain boots up a story, and it's usually the exact same repetitive loop it ran yesterday. To break this, we look to the Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor Marcus Aurelius. He began every morning by writing in his journal, but not his operational to-do list. He wrote about what kind of man he wanted to be that day. He was actively pre-programming himself. So, as an executive, before you look at a single screen, check a single email, or read a market report, just spend 60 seconds directing your narrative. Say to yourself, today I am decisive. Today I look for systemic solutions, not quick fixes. You have to set the tone before the world sets it for you.
Tool number 2 is the language shift. Words aren't just sounds. They're essentially cognitive spells. When you say, "I can't do that," you literally lock a door in your brain. So change it to, "I haven't done that yet." Change, "My team can't handle this pivot," to, "We are learning how to execute this pivot." Instead of saying, "I'm afraid of this merger," say, "I notice fear, and I am proceeding anyway." I know, it sounds incredibly simple, but it is profound. If you run this deliberate language shift for 90 days, you will watch your brain slowly and permanently rewire its approach to corporate risk and leadership challenges.
Tool number 3 is pattern interruption. Professional hypnotherapists use sudden, unexpected stimuli to break an old mental loop and create space for a new one. When you find yourself in a negative spiral, a moment of high stress, or worse, executive decision paralysis, you absolutely must break the trance. Splash cold water on your face. Stand up and completely change your physical environment. Take an unexpected break in your routine. You intentionally change the sensory input to snap your brain out of its paralyzing loop so you can return to the data with clear eyes. And tool number 4 is borrowed belief. Because let's be real, sometimes, despite your absolute best efforts, you simply cannot believe in yourself or your strategic vision in that exact moment. And hey, that is okay. The strategy here is to borrow someone else's belief in you until your own confidence grows back. This right here is the true function of great mentorship, executive coaching, or a trusted board member. When they see a potential in you that you just can't see yet, their certainty acts as a powerful, positive, hypnotic suggestion. Borrow their eyes until yours adjusts to the new reality. Section 5, the ultimate case study, Viktor Frankl. Now, let's slow down for a second. We need to ground all of this theory in a concrete, historical case study of a man who demonstrated the ultimate, undeniable proof of cognitive freedom.
Viktor Frankl was a brilliant psychiatrist in Vienna, but in 1942, he was taken to a concentration camp by the Nazis. He was completely stripped of his family, his life's work, his freedom, and his dignity. He was reduced to a mere number, pushed into the most horrifying experience a human being can possibly endure. Yet in the very midst of that unimaginable darkness, Frankl realized something incredible. They could take absolutely everything from him, except one thing: the fundamental freedom to choose his internal story about what was happening to him. He wrote this profound realization. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. That space is where your absolute power lives. Even in the frozen hell of a camp, he became the architect of his own mind. He found meaning in suffering and maintained his cognitive control when everything external was specifically designed to break him. 16 million. That is the number of copies his resulting book, Man's Search for Meaning, has sold. He survived, and he shared his paradigm shift with the entire world. It just proves the monumental, world-changing impact of taking absolute ownership of your internal narrative, regardless of how devastating or difficult the external circumstances might be. So, I want to leave you, as a leader, with these high-level questions to immediately apply this to your own life and career. Number 1, what is the story you tell yourself most often, and did you actually choose it? 2, if you could hypnotize yourself into believing one thing completely about your capabilities, what would it be? 3, whose belief in you have you borrowed? And 4, what is going to be your pattern interrupt the next time you hit a mental wall in the boardroom? Just consider your baseline for a moment. You have a warm bed. You have screens that connect you to global markets in milliseconds. You have access to nearly every idea in human history. Viktor Frankl found total cognitive freedom behind barbed wire in the absolute worst conditions imaginable. You are not in those conditions. You have boundless room to choose your response. So what exactly are you waiting for?
It's time to stop living passively within a narrative handed to you by someone else. You came into this explainer wondering who actually makes your decisions. And the truth is, you can, starting right now with the one person whose life and leadership you're 100% in charge of, yourself. So I leave you with this final provocative mandate. What story are you choosing today? Go be the leader you actually want to be. We'll see you in the next one.